Welcome, ISL fans. I am Damon, coach of the Cincinnati Regigigas, and this is the first ever Power Rankings. This is pre-draft, and of course, I am not alone. I am joined I am joined by Hayden, coach of the Texas Rhyhorns.
How's it going, guys?
I am also joined by a new coach this season, a coach from across the pond, Blaze, coach of the Chicago Gliscor.
Hey guys, Blaze on here.
Fantastic accent. All right.
Nice.
All right, before we get started, I'd just like to say that these are all personal opinions, so if we ranked your favorite player or you yourself at number 12 or super high and you don't think they deserve to be there, feel free to leave your own list in the comment section. These are not final, these aren't like predictions for who's going to win. This is purely based off of the draft. With that in mind, we're going to start right into number 12, ranking. Blaze refused to rank himself, so he does not have a rank 12, but Hayden and I do have a rank 12. I have decided to rank Oz as my number 12, and this is not saying that he has a bad draft at all, but he does, in my opinion, have the not best draft out of all. He started off great, Mega Venusaur, and after that, it just kind of spirals down, down, down. 3 water types, 2 defensive grass types, only 1 fire type to complete a core. Not a lot of offensive presence. His strongest offensive mon, I would say, is Excelgor, and that is all the way down in RU. He has an Excadrill, he has Zapdos, he has some versatility, but honestly, I don't see him... I see him being very easy to prep for early and having to do a lot of free agency and trading later on. Hayden?
Definitely agree with that. But my number 12 is actually one of the guys in the call, so might get awkward here for a second. Blaze. And the main reason I did this is because I really, really, really hate, and most people hate, really fat teams. And if you look at Blaze's team, it's a very, very fat team with 1, 2, 3, 4 Regenerator Mons, Blissey, Mega Aggron. It's just a whole lot of defense with Conkeldurr.
Mm-hmm. Now, boys, would you like to explain why your number 12 slot is currently a blank?
It's because, I don't know, I just didn't rank myself. I didn't think it was fair to rank myself because
Okay,
that's
but
a bit biased.
how do you think blank coach is going to do this season? How do you think his or her draft was?
I think it's pretty good. Like, a lot of strong mons on that team. It's stuff like blank and blank. So,
I really like
I think they're
RU
going to
picks.
put in a lot of work and maybe 6-0 their opponent quite a few times this season.
Yeah. We'll see. All right, moving on to rank 11. Boys, you want to start this out so you can get a rank 12?
Yep, I've got Hayden as my number 11 pick. Well, number 12, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. But it's for the reasons such as, like, Greninja is not really a first-round pick, in my opinion. It's X and Y Greninja, and without, like, Gunk Shot and all those moves. And I just don't think it's a very good pick. And also, his bulky core just consists of Cofagrigus and Golbat, pretty much. Like, none of the other
Carbink.
ones. Carbink gets one shot by any
Hayden,
skill,
this is his turn.
let's be honest.
Just saying.
But that means he's going to have to bring those to a lot of weeks unless he is going to go fully offensive. And Mega Glalie isn't strong enough. It's not strong enough for a Mega. And also, his only ways of getting rid of hazards is Golbat and Sandslash.
Alright, well, Hayden, you had your chance to show fire. Blaze, you had your chance to throw fire. Let's throw fire with Carolina Pansear and Oz. Hayden, why did you put Oz at number 11?
I put Oz at number 11 because of mainly the reasons that you put. A lot of redundant typings, a lot of same typings with the same fit on the team, basically. And it's just Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff.
Alright, well, with that segue, we're going to move into my number 11 rank, Hyair and the Florida Feraligators. Now, looking at Hyair's team, I think Hayden said it best when, Megalopunny, pretty solid. Garchomp, solid 2 picks. Jirachi, Vaporeon, Florges, Roserade, and so on. His first specially offensive Mon is really Jolteon, and that's all the way down in RU. He drafted 3 fast physical attackers as his first 3 picks, and 3 mainly specially bulky Mons as all of his UU picks. I see a lot of redundancy on this team, and I know maybe he didn't have the best coordination as he had to leave halfway through, but I just see some redundant jobs, and maybe not a lot of redundant typings, but a lot of redundant jobs. And I'm not sure how well that's going to work out for him. Megalopunny is certainly strong, so I feel like he may be able to do something this season, but I don't think it's going to be too stellar. On that exciting note, we might as well get this out of the way. Blaze, I ranked you at number 10 because Regenerator in this mode is pretty easy to prep for. I'm sorry.
Nah, that's cool.
33% is solid, but I mean, Stealth Rocks counteracts some of it. Like Tornadus T, Stealth Rocks almost completely counteracts it every time Tornadus comes in. And I don't really see you having that much of an offensive presence. Although you do have some strong Mons. Conkeldurr can be pretty strong in the offensive. Thunderous T, as we saw last season from Bob, can sweep under the right conditions. It's Toxic Stall. Flygon can be pretty strong too, but in all honesty, I don't see a lot of offensive pressure there. So I think it'll be okay, but certainly not enough offensive presence at all for me to warrant putting you any higher. Sorry, man.
That's cool.
All right. Next up, Hayden and Blaze both ranked higher at number 10, so you can tag team this if you want.
Okay. Basically, Damon already said what I said. Basically, if you go down as Mons, physical attacker, special wall, special wall, just anything, special attacker, and Roserade, special attacker, Jolteon, then physical, then another special, and then basically 2 more walls. He just, I don't think, has enough of a special attacking presence in his draft to really break through physically defensive Mons.
And also, he doesn't have a good physically defensive wall. Like, as you said, Florges can be, but it's like 80 physical defense, which isn't really enough for a wall. Same with Furfuru, really. Although it does get that moves, which plus 3 physical defense.
Yeah, and it gets, I think one of its abilities is half damage on physical attacks.
Half damage
so
on
there we
physical
go.
attacks, yeah.
Furfuru's is only physical wall, but it's not really enough of a physical wall presence. And he has way too many physical attackers, as you guys have both said.
Alrighty, well that wraps up this first slide, and I'm going to move to the second one. Whoa, fancy. Alright, Blaze, you want to start off with your number 9 pick, Manaphy City and Cameron. Last year's champs.
Yeah. So the reason why I've put Cameron at number 10, is it? Yeah, 10.
9.
Is because... Oh, number 9. Is because I don't think Altaria is a very good Mega, in my opinion. Like, it has to be set up to have pretty good attacks. Like, Dragon Dance, it has to be set up, really. Also, something that I don't really like in this league is Hooper, because pretty much any physical dark type attack just will one-shot it. You don't have to have a strong physical dark type attack. Any knockoff from pretty much any physical attacker will kill it. It doesn't really have good matchup against many people's teams, because most teams have knockoff on at least one of their mons. Whimsicott I don't think will be that useful this league. It's quite gimmicky, which is good, but it's just not strong enough, really. Hitmontop is a very good physically defensive wall in this format, so he has got a very good team. That there's certain parts in the team which won't get used at all, really, in my opinion. Sigilif is quite gimmicky as well, and I don't know, Skunk Tank just isn't really strong enough. That's my reasoning.
Alright, nice words. Hayden, you're next up at number 9.
Okay, mine, I talked to a few people about it, and it's kind of controversial, I guess. It's not meant to be, but at 9 is the Atlanta Bravery, coached by Ty. And the first thing I noticed was, I know this is kind of stupid to put on rankings, but he's bringing back mons that he's already used instead of going to a more diverse type. I don't know why. That's one of the negative things about it. How he's used Crocodile, Rotom Heat, Gastrodon, and I think that's the only ones that he's used in a different league. And I know it's stupid, but that's one of the reasons. And then
you could use that to say that he's going to have more experience with his team and therefore might do a little bit better. But I definitely see where you're coming from.
I don't like the thing where it's like, oh, I really like this mon, so I'm going to get it every draft. I'm not going to let other people try and draft it.
Were you looking at one of his mons, Hayden?
Actually, was I? Oh, I was looking at Rotom Heat for a while, and then I drafted Thundurus, but it doesn't matter. And then the rest of his draft is just, I don't know, it's kind of an average draft to me, with a great Mega and then some good core mons, but I just liked, it's not a bad draft in any way, it's just average, and there's 8 other drafts, in my opinion, better than it.
Well, next up, I ranked Utah Weeze, coached by Gavin, a new coach this year, at my number 9. Now, he does have 2 very powerful mons as his first 2 picks, namely Mew and Weavile. Weavile, GBA Season 4 MVP, everyone knows. Mew, one of the most versatile mons in the format, can do pretty much everything. And yeah, that's about it. Not too much else really shining throughout the draft. He has Milotic and Goodra, both mainly special walls, and neither have stellar physical defense. And as you go down, not much else is too bulky. Electros is kind of bulky, but no reliable recovery. Same with Granbull and Golurk. So I feel like Milotic and Goodra are going to see a lot, maybe too much action this season, and I don't feel like he has the offensive... He has some bulky offensive mons, namely in Shaman or Emboar, but I don't see him having enough pressure on either side of the spectrum to really do much to teams with, like, giant offensive threats. Or defensive threats, such as Mega Venusaur, maybe. So that's just my opinion, but next up, I have Manaphy City and coached by Cameron at my number 8. Just gonna keep talking for y'all. But, Cameron, even though he was last year's champion, I'm agreeing with Blaze on this. I don't think Mega Altaria is as good as a Mega as everyone makes it out to be. It's versatile, but it's not good at being versatile, in my opinion. It can be a special or physical attacker, but doesn't really excel at either. It's just kind of a UU on either side, and some people might think that's great, but I mean, get past the OU and he doesn't have a lot. Like Blaze said, Whimsicotta's gimmicky, Hoopa is really easy to take down, Manaphy itself is pretty weak unless it sets up a Tail Glow, and because of that, it's very predictable. He has no natural rain setters either, so Rest Manaphy will not really work unless it sets up the rain itself. Landorus T is fantastic, but I also see it very easy to prep for in this league format, and there's just not a lot that stands out to me on his draft, so certainly not bad, but I don't see a lot of win potential on there unless he starts pulling out tricks or amazing skill. Hayden?
My number 8, if I pull it up right here, is Boo of the San Francisco 49 Tails. He had a very good first pick and second pick. Heatran, Slowbro, Mega Slowbro, and then he actually got what I was thinking about getting for my first round pick, and that's Kieran Black. And basically, you just put a scarf on it and just destroys most teams. And then his UU draft, this is kind of why I put him down lower. His UU draft is kind of underwhelming in my opinion. I don't really like Fortress and Slurpuff in this format, but Mandibuzz can be really good. And then his first RU pick, again, Doug Trio, not that great. But Rodonmo and Meloetta. Well, Meloetta's not that good either, I guess. But his NU picks, I think, were probably one of the better ones in our draft, with Regirock, Kecleon, and Scyther. And then his team really fits together well, so it's just another kind of average draft, I would say, that works really well together. Yeah. Good
Alrighty.
explanations by Hayden.
Nailed it. All right, Blaze, you're up.
So I've got Oz at number 8 for quite a lot of the reasons which have already been said by Damon, which is Venusaur is a very good first round pick. It's amazing. I was going to get it. But
Pretty sure like 5 people were going to get it.
Yeah.
Myself included.
It kind of just goes downhill from there. I mean, Excadrill, as you saw last season, it wasn't overly good. Like, I think it was Burke that used it, and he was complaining about it quite a lot of the season. Zapdos is all right, but then Wigglytuff at the end. Just I don't agree with that pick. I know it was just because he didn't know what to get, but I just don't think it was a very good pick. I mean, there's just a couple of defensive mons which are quite good, like Tangrowth and Jellicent. They're both pretty good, but then what's the rest of his bulk? He has nothing else. I don't know. I just think he doesn't have enough bulk. I think he's going to probably pick up some bulk in free agency, I would guess, unless he just wants to go ultra offensive. But that's my reasoning for putting him so low. He doesn't have enough bulk and
so low. A few of us in this call would say that we put him a little bit lower. Is there any reason why he's above, say, Cameron, the previous champ?
I just didn't like a lot of Cameron's picks. Like, a lot of them are very gimmicky and won't be used a lot of the weeks. I think he's just got a couple of mons which he's going to use the whole time, and then some mons just won't be used and they'll just be trade fodder.
Alright, so Oz not the best, but definitely better than some. Alright, next, Blaze, still on here. Put Utah Weeze, coached by Gavin, at number 7. Why'd you do this?
Gavin's team is pretty good, but looking down his list, he has specially defensive walls, but he doesn't really have a good physical defensive wall. The only two are Golurk and Gramble, and both don't have any way of recovering HP apart from leftovers. So, I mean, physical teams just will destroy his draft, pretty much, in my opinion. Also, the Weavile pick is very good, but I don't think Mew is a very good first round pick. I think he should have got that second round maybe and got something better first round. I mean, Mega Metric is a great third round pick, but there's just certain reasons, like too many, or a good amount of special walls, but not enough physical walls with reliable recovery.
Alrighty. Hayden, you have ranked yourself at number 7, your self-proclaimed favorite number.
7 is my favorite number, and that was just a coincidence, actually, for where I landed at. I put myself here because after the draft, I did talk to a few people, and they did tell me that it's mostly an offensive team, and I can see where they're coming from, but just saying Suicune can be run defensively. Hydreigon can be run defensively.
Suicune run defensively? No way.
Just saying.
That's baloney.
But everyone keeps overlooking. They're just like, oh, Cofagrigus, Golbat. Really? Suicune. Just look at it. And then my RU and NU picks are all defensive except for Mega Glalie, which is an underrated Mega because 100 base speed and 120 in both attacks with priority.
Hayden, it's RU, not UR. Rarely used, not underrated.
Well, that's only because there's so many better Megas than it in regular standard play, not in league format where Mega Glalie is going to pick up like 12 kills.
All right. Hopefully some of those kills with a refrigerated explosion.
I just noticed though. And no, I don't kill off my mons like that. I'm a good boy. I'm a good trainer, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I did just realize that I put myself third in my division, so that's kind of
Fun.
yeah.
All right. Well, next up, myself. I put Xavier and the Dallas Victory Stars at my number 7. And Xavier, fun fact, actually went 10-0 last year in the regular season. Good for him. Yay. Everyone give him a round of applause.
He didn't win, though.
Or not. All right. No love for Xavier. But looking at his draft for me, he personally told me he wanted to go more offensive, but in my opinion, he did not go about it the best. He does have Mega Pinsir and a few Mons to Volt Switch or U-turn out into him, such as Liepard or Raikou. And I do believe he will get a few sweeps with the Mega Pinsir, or more than a few in my bold predictions. But Starmie first pick, Raikou second, I don't see it. I know he was able to pick up Pinsir, but those are his fastest Mons outside of Liepard, and they're just not, like, Pinsir is not that fast. It relies on being set up and using quick attack. Raikou's strong, but it's an electric type and is very predictable when it comes to prepping. And Starmie is fast, but it's not that strong. And as you go down, there's just not a whole lot of walls. There is some bulk, specifically in Nidoqueen or Machamp and Porygon 2 as UU, but I don't see him doing well. I see him having to play extremely well and prep extremely hard in order to just win a simple game. Or what would be simple for, maybe a better draft. So, hey, Xavier's an excellent coach, but I'm going to put him at number 7. And with that, we're going to move on up. Alright, I guess I'll start this one off. I put Boo at number 6, coach of the San Francisco 49 Tails. And this is just kind of a coincidence, but his team reminds me a lot of my team last season. Kind of a ragtag group of Mons with kind of set out jobs, but not a whole lot seeming good. Like, you can easily find flaws in a lot of them. Fortress, 4 times weak to fire. Kieran Black's not that fast, and it doesn't really have a good physical ice-type move. Slowbro, it's bulky, but that's about it. All sorts of stuff. But I feel like his team synergizes really well, and every week he'll have something that he can bring to do well, or he'll always have a counter for that one Mon, because his team's so broad. And I honestly think he'll do pretty well this season. Not sure if it's playoff worthy, but his draft certainly looks good to me. Hayden, you can go now.
Okay, awesome. My number 6 is the Rotterdam Staraptors, coached by Ramon. And it's just a really solid draft. Starting out, at least, Charizard, or Mega Charizard X, but Y is better, everyone knows that. Rotom Wash and Complete.
Apparently not everyone, because he drafted X.
Who was MVP? But I'm going to continue. And then I didn't really understand drafting 2 poison types back-to-back in Crobat and Nidoking. But getting Empoleon 3rd round of UU was a really good grab. And then I didn't really like the Sneasel pick, at all.
I mean, as we all know, Sneasel is going to do so much better than Weavile this season. It's going to get even more kills than Weavile this season.
I just thought he could get it 3rd round of RU or 2nd round instead of going after it first.
I mean, if he had waited, a certain person named me would have picked it up, so.
Well. And then, NU, I've seen people run Vileplume, don't like it personally, and really don't like his last 2 picks in Meowstic and Leavanny. That's why he's not, top 3 or top 4, and that's why he's down at at 6, because he started off great in OU, and then his draft did kind of go a little south towards the end, but it's still, I would say,
above
better
that
than
average.
Most. Yeah, still better than most.
Still above that 50. Alright. Blaze, you're next up.
So I've got Xavier at 6 because I think he's got a really good team, and as you've said, he went 10-0 last season, so you got to give him credit for that. And he's just got a really good team. The only one I'm not a fan of is Starmie first round, but then he definitely picked that up with Pinsir. Mega Pinsir in the third round, which is ridiculous. It's a great mega in the format. You can get some good Swords Dance sweeps in this league format. Unless people are prepared with good rock setters. And Porygon 2 is just an amazing wall. It can bulk hits on both sides, especially and physically. And with Trevenant and Aromatisse to pack that up, it's just an amazing wall core. It's probably going to destroy many teams in the format. The only one I'm not really a fan of is Articuno, but he's given his reasons for picking Articuno, so I think that was an alright pick.
Mm-hmm. Ice types are a very good attacking type in standard play and in this league format.
4 times weakness to rock.
That seems to be a theme, but maybe that's why he drafted Starmie first. Alright, Blaze still up, putting Ramon and the Rotterdam Stratters at number 5.
Now, Ramon has a really good draft. Mega Charizard X I can get behind, that's a really good draft. Rotom Wash and Clefable, that's just disgusting. That's a really good core. As well, Crobat to back that up. That's just a ridiculous core. He's got his Dragon and Fairy in the first 3 picks, and let's see if he's got his Steel. He has Empoleon. That's a really good core actually. Dragon Fairy Steel core. And with Sneasel as well, as his first RU pick, that's a great attacker, as you saw in week 1. It did some things against my team, so I'm not going to spoil that just in case you haven't watched that.
That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say what happened, but go and watch that battle.
I'd just like to say any matches that may or may not have happened have not influenced these picks. These picks were made before any matches may or may not have happened continue.
Yeah. Yeah, as you said before, Meowstic and Leaveney are the only 2 picks which I can't really get behind, but he got Violet Bloom, which is the only NU we really wanted, I guess. So that's why I have put his team at rank 5.
Mm-hmm. Alright, Hayden, you're next up with Xavier, the highest rating Xavier received in this little power rankings.
Yes, I gave Xavier number 5 because I did speak with him before the draft, and I knew that he actually used most of the mons that he drafted in the weeks before the draft to get really good with them. And that's why he did choose Starmie, which I would have chosen Raikou first anyways, just to make sure that Cameron wouldn't think about getting, sniping that from him. Because honestly, Raikou's a lot better in this format than Starmie.
That's debatable. Though it certainly is, as most people would say, a more reliable mon.
I do agree with that, to be honest. I would much rather it if he had drafted Raikou first, but obviously he didn't want Starmie to get sniped because it's a great rapid spinner.
Yeah. But yeah, his draft is just really solid to me. This, as you guys already pointed out, good OU core, good UU core with pretty defensive mons. Trevenant, haven't really seen that in this league yet. Tyrantium, very strong. And then Torkoal, obviously a scrub, but the rest of his draft really makes up for that. And then Liepard, because why not have a prankster user?
Mm-hmm. Why not? And we all know Torkoal can't do anything because it's constantly on drugs. But yeah. Next up, Ramon, or as I would like to hope, Raymond, because it sounds like Damon. Woo. Coach of the Rotterdam Stratters. I have him ranked at number 5. Pretty similar to what you two have said, but I believe he's going to do a little bit better this season than most people give him credit for. His UU's not that strong in my opinion, but Sneasel's going to do a lot better than everyone else is going to give it credit for. Gallade's a lot more bulky than people realize, and I feel like he's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve, and maybe they won't work always, but I feel like that's going to get him some solid wins. Mega Charizard X, although it may not be Zard-Y, sorry, Hayden, it is still fantastic in this it still is really, really good in this format. Dragon Dance sweeps are really, really prominent, as Hayden demonstrated last year with Zygarde, and maybe we'll see some Mega Charizard X sweeps this season.
No.
Alright. Well, next up, I'm going to have Hayden talk about this one too, because it's
sorry
me.
to interrupt, but
Ooh.
I did just ask Raymond how
Mhm.
to say his name, and it is Raymond, and not Ramon.
Haha, take that.
Oh, wait, nope, he just put it in chat again.
Wait, what?
Apparently, it is Ramon and not Raymond. He is confusing me. Carry on.
It looks like it's ramen. Like ramen noodles. Alright. No one else finds my jokes funny. I get it. Alright.
You tried.
I did try. A little bit too hard. Alright. Next up, number 4. Hayden ranked me at number 4 as well, so I'm going to have him kind of talk about me, since I can't really talk about me. But, you know, I do believe 4 is a fair placement for me. Hayden seems to think so as well. I've got some. I think there's some nice walls on my team. I've got some bulky attackers. I got enough speed. Got enough great hazard control on both sides of the spectrum. So Hayden.
Okay, so basically how I did this, the draft rankings, is I put everyone in 3 tiers. Well, basically I had 3 tiers: good, above average, or average, and then slightly under average. And this is the start of my above average tier, because if you look at Damon's draft, 2 really good attackers starting out in Victinian, Megalodios, then a Great Wall in Hippowdon. Then you go down to UU, 2 good attackers in Porygon Z and Lucario, Great Wall and Tentacruel, and Rapid Spinner. Then RU, 2 good defensive mons, and a defogger, and then an attacker, which is pretty good, I guess. And then 2 good attackers in NU. I like Leafeon anyways. And then really you could run Regice in a few different ways: defensive or rock polish, weakness policy.
Many people seem to forget that it has 200 base special defense, one of the highest in the game.
It's very nice. Yeah, but it's just a solid draft with a good combination of attackers and bulk.
Oh, thank you, Hayden.
I try.
Alright, Blaze, you're up next. Putting Burke, coach of the New England Patriots, at number 4.
Yes, I've got Burke at number 4 because getting that Steel Fairy Dragon Core in OU is just insane. He got a really good one as well. I think Clefable would have been better than Sylveon, but actually no, because that would have been more bulk and less attack. So yeah, that's really good. And then he got his water, grass, fire in UU, and that's just insane. I can't believe he got all of his cores in the first 2 tiers. And then just backing that up, Magneton, it would have been Jolteon, but unfortunately, Burke just doesn't really like Jolteon anymore. He told me.
1 pick.
Yeah. And then with Rhyperior, I mean, Rhyperior has 2 full times weaknesses, which kind of screw it over. But so that's.
He's the evolution of my favorite mon, so just watch out. Watch out, okay?
Hence
Don't
the
talk
name of this
bad to
team.
him.
2 full times weaknesses, but you know.
He tanks them.
Spiritomb is alright, but apparently he's going to use that as trade fodder. I'm not sure just yet, but I think that's. I don't think he wants Spiritomb. I think he said it. Wheezing is just insane. Ordino is a pretty decent mon, but it's a bit of setup fodder. And then Haunted to just get it at the end. Great Specs mon, great Scarf mon. It gets Trick as well, doesn't it? I think it gets Trick. But even if it doesn't, it's just a great mon. And that's why Burke is number 4.
A lot of nice words about Burke from Blaze, but there were 3 he thought were better. The first of those 3 being myself. Blaze, why am I better than Burke?
Right, so your team is number 3, because drafting Victini first round, I can definitely get behind that. That's great mon, with some with some great bulk to back it up, such as Hippowdon, Tentacruel, Togetic is one of the ones which I was looking out for, because Togetic is just insane. Registeel is another one, but unfortunately it doesn't get any recovery, which could maybe screw you over. I'm not sure though. And then Regice as well, just getting 2 of the Reggies, that's pretty good.
I mean,
As
my
well
mascot is one of the biggest Reggies. Unfortunately, I am not a big fan of it in competitive play.
Yeah, slow start, bit of a downfall. But you've got some great setups as well, such as Lucario. You can set up either side on that. Cincino gets Sword Dance, I'm pretty sure.
Not too sure about that. But
Leafeon
continue.
gets Sword Dance. It's just a really good team. Great physical attackers, great special attackers, and some pretty decent walls.
All right. Well, Hayden, you're up next with the highest ranking of the previous champion, but still at number 3.
Yes. Obviously, he does have a few flaws, which I will point out. But he did get some extra points for being the champion. But I guess I'm the only commentator on here that likes Mega Altaria in this format.
Now,
even though it does do just a few things, it's still really hard to kill once it does Mega Evolve.
Now, I never said I didn't like it, but perhaps he could have gotten something a little bit better.
Possibly. But he did get Landorus Therian with his second pick, which is probably the best Mon in the format. Well, in the standard format anyways.
I mean, besides the Uber's Mons.
Yeah.
And its counterpart, Landorus I, apparently.
That's Uber's now, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then he drafted his mascot, Manaphy.
Which we all know is horrible luck, and therefore he's obviously going to go 0 and 10.
Exactly. And then Infernape. I was actually going to draft Infernape. I was looking at him, but I knew that Cameron was also looking at him, so that's why I picked up Terrakion instead. I kind of questioned the Hoopa pick. Like, really questioned. That's probably one of his weaker draft picks. Because it is so frail and just, 4 times weak to knock off. And then, nice Prankstermon, and then another fighting type, but this Hitmontop's more defensive, Rapid Spinner. And then Seismitoad is, in my opinion, the better Quagsire. I guess Showdowns too, because it's RU, not NU. And then probably the biggest draft pick in RU, because it was the last pick, Sigilyph. I did not think it was going to get all the way down there, because it is a very good Mon, especially in this format. It really, if you looked at the GBA Season 4, it really turned around John's team and made him a playoff contender. Another pick I didn't like, Skuntank. Can just throw that away. Don't care about that. I really like Tauros. Gets sheer force. Hits really hard. And then Sock, a third fighting type. This is the reason why he's number 3. It's because he has 3 fighting types. He'll obviously get rid of one sometime during the season. But I think Sock's just there for when the other team just has too many ground or water Pokemon that can get rid of Infernape pretty easy. So it's still a good pick in my opinion. But it's still a very solid draft. Obviously I put it at number 3, so yeah.
Alright.
Good explanations by Hayden once again. I try.
Alright. Well, I put Ty, coach of the Atlanta Braviary, at my number 3. And Hayden does not agree with this, but I believe that Ty has a very, very, very solid draft this season. He has a lot of versatility. Gardevoir, maybe not a first-round Mega, but a great Mega, huge special attack stat, and with Pixelate Hyper Voices can absolutely rip through a team. Superior, maybe I didn't play with it the best last season, but it is a potent sweeper if it can set itself up right or get itself in the right situation. Skarmory, great defensive Mon, and it just kind of keeps going on from there. Not a lot of huge negative Mons I see on his team, Nothing that I think I would really replace. Frogadier, it'd be interesting to see how that does, but overall, I think it's a very solid draft. Alrighty. Next to number 2, just below number 1 slot, I put Hayden. Kind of controversial. Hayden ranking himself at number 7, and Blaze putting him all the way down at the number 11 slot, but I believe that Hayden, good buddy on here, has a very, very good draft this season. A lot of offensive power.
Thank you.
Some good defensive mons, too.
I like what I'm hearing.
Kind of made a joke, but Suicune is actually, I believe, normally run as defensive mon. 115, 120, around that area on both defenses and HP. It's also got Calm Mind, so Crocune may be an option. But I see it's a very strong draft, got a lot of versatility, great mons, pretty much all the way through. So I think he's gonna do well.
Thank you. Let me just go over to my second. My second, number 2, is actually the Utah Wheeze. And I think this is probably the most underrated draft on here, as the other 2 analysts on here put them a little bit lower. Because Mew, it still can do anything you want it to. That's why I still think it's a first-round pick. Maybe not the first overall or 4th, but it's still worth it to try and go after first round. And then Weavile, 3rd in kills in the ISL last season, 1st in the GBA, so you know it's going to do well. Mega Manectric, just fast, electric, strong. It's nice. Milotic, I know for a fact me and Damon both wanted this, but I decided to scoop up Suicune
proper grammar
instead.
would say Damon and I, but continue.
I don't do grammar, so there you go.
Grammar is underrated.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gudra is still a solid pick, even though I thought there was better dragons left when he did pick that. Like Hydreigon and Haxorus was still there. But it's still a solid bulky mon that can really hit hard, especially with Assault Vest on.
All right.
Shaman, solid grass type, base 100 all around. Ambipom, just strong fake out.
Now, you don't have to go through every single mon on every single person's draft, Hayden.
But I do what I do, and that's how I do.
That's
All
what
right.
I've been doing as well.
Well, now it's Blaze's turn to do what he has to do, and that's explain why he put
I wasn't
Ty.
done.
You were done.
I was not. I was just getting down to RU. I was about to talk about how I hate Emboar and Blaziken's better. And then Electros is a very underrated mon in RU.
Well, you've just done
nice
so.
Volt Switch with Assault Vest. And then
Well, you've
Gramble,
said it now.
I was actually going to pick up that instead of Carbink because
It
I
just
needed
goes
an
on and on.
Intimidator. I
I would
do.
have picked Gramble if he didn't.
Oh, okay. So that wouldn't happen. But
Yeah.
don't really like Swallow and like Golurk because I use Choice Scarf Golurk when I do NU. Okay, Blaze. I'm done.
You just ruined
Okay.
a perfect segue, I just like to say.
The next 2 drafts that I've got on my list are just teams which I saw and said, wow. Because they've got a really good team, a lot of ones which I personally like myself as well. Gardevoir, Mega Gardevoir it's really underrated in this season. Because literally, Hyper Voice does so much damage. Pixelate Hyper Voice, it's so overpowered. Skarmory, one of the best defensive Pokemon in the format, in my opinion. Superior, after a couple of boosts, I know it's pretty weak before you get the boost, but after a couple of boosts, it can literally sweep teams so easily. Moxie Crocodile is insane. Haxorus, have you guys seen the UCL this season? It's just insane.
Yes. I was actually going to pick
So
that up
many
instead of
sweeps.
Hydreigon.
Yeah, I wanted it, but I decided not to get it. Rotom Heat, basically just a worse Rotom Wash. It's just insane. Hitmonlees, I can't really get behind. Probably the worst Hitmon in the format. In all in total, in my opinion. I think even though Hitmonchan is quite bad, it's in RU, so it doesn't use one of your UU slots up. Wait, is that? Doesn't matter. I'm stupid, but Hitmonlee is it's still not better than Hitmontop, in my opinion. I think Hitmontop is a lot better than Hitmonlee. So that's one of the ones which I can't get behind. But Gastrodon with Storm Drain. Wait, does it get Storm? Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Storm Drain, it's just really good mon. And I'm gonna stop now before Damon kills himself.
Oh, he's
If I
gonna
were
hate
good
when I go
editing,
for Bird's Draft.
if I was a good editor, I'd put in the Jeopardy theme song, but I'm not. So, on to the number 1 pick. Almost unanimous, but Blaze did not decide to put Burke at number 1. Blaze, why did you put Boo at number 1?
Right, so Boo's at number 1. As I said, I just said wow when I saw those two teams. It's amazing. I can't believe he got all 3 of those OU picks. Kieran Black is as round 3. That's insane. I thought it would be a round 1 for sure. But although you said you didn't really like Fortress, I think Fortress is really good. It forces them to put HP Fire in like at least two or three of their mons, which is really good. Slurpuff can't really get behind, but Belly Drum Slurpuff can sweep teams easily. And as you said, Mandibuzz is amazing mon. Dugtrio can be quite good, trapping things in, and then just slowly whittling them down with Earthquake and other moves like that. And you guys have been saying that Slowbro is a ridiculous mon in just OU for
Yeah, especially since you don't have to Mega first turn.
yeah.
If you want to save that
Because once
regenerator for
you
a
keep
prediction.
getting that regenerator boost, and then once it's your last mon, just go ahead and Mega Evolve and you can't get crit.
So that's why he's at number 1.
Alrighty,
Nice.
well, Blaze ruined unanimous fun, but both Hayden and I think Burke, coach of the New England Patriots, has the superior draft this season and put him at number 1. Hayden, would you like to explain why? A little bit shorter than 10 minutes.
I can try. I don't know if that's possible. But if I mentioned earlier that I had 3 tiers, the really good, average, above average, and then slightly under average. Burke's team, in my opinion, would be even above that
It's
really
above
good tier.
average.
Yeah, it's near perfect, in my opinion, because he got Scissor, not Mega, made some people mad. I don't really see the gripe about it, but, people. Latios, he wanted Latios, but Latios, in my opinion, fits his team a lot better because he didn't really need bulk with his other mons that he wanted, and it hits hard, especially with a Draco. Sylveon can be a wall and still hit hard. Arcanine, same thing. You can play it either way. Chestnut, it's basically you say the same things about every mon from OU and UU. Basically, it can be either a wall or a really hard hitter. And then Mega Sharpedo, definitely underrated in this format because you can get that speed boost off before Mega evolving to try and sweep up later. And I won't really talk about his RU and U picks because I only really liked Rhyperior and Weezing. All of the other ones were, in my opinion, kind of useless picks because he had literally as perfect as you can get in OU and UU, in my opinion. That's why his RU and NU don't really matter as much as other drafts.
Alright, well, I have the great joy of going through his RU and NU drafts. No, I'm not going to bore y'all like that. But, honestly, Magneton and Rhyperior are both weak to ground in a row. I know Weezing has though he does have a few immunities in Latios, Haunter, and Weezing. None of them weak to rock, by the way, which is something that someone can say on my team. But I do agree with Hayden on almost all aspects. Nearly perfect OU and UU draft has 2 type cores, making it super easy to bring all of his mons whenever he needs to. Scizor and Latios have great offensive power. Sylveon has great offensive and defensive power. Sharpedo, really good because it can get that speed boost. Strong Jaw's powerful. Rhyperior is strong, but honestly, I know we got sniped a few times in RU with Jolteon and some other Mons, but
And Aggron.
And Aggron. Rhyperior does not look like... It doesn't look to be the best pick for his team, on my opinion. And I really like his NU, actually. Weezing is a lot stronger than people give it credit for, so is Audino and Haunter. I personally used Weezing and Haunter myself in higher tiers, and they've done just fine, but Audino, I can see why people would think it's a little bit questionable, especially not Mega, so not as much bulk. But overall, really, really solid. And he has Mons that he can drop if he needs free agency for a certain week. So, and that gives him, because his OU and UU is really good, it gives him a lot of freedom with his lower tiers. So I think number 1 draft this season, going to do really well. But that wraps up our first ever power rankings. Woo! We made it.
Yay.
Okay.
Woo. You can tell they're excited. Any final comments?
I guess just that the power rankings will be done by 2 analysts from here on out. We just didn't have the draft power rankings lined up, so we just decided to hop in a call and do it ourselves.
Yeah. You guys definitely didn't give enough credit to Meloetta, by the way. Meloetta's got a sweet team.
I did. I said it was a good special attacker.
It's great.
As soon as it uses
I wouldn't say
Billixsong, it
great.
becomes a physical attacker, though, so...
Yeah.
That's up for debate. But that's the end of it. This is Damon, coach of Cincinnati Regigigas, with Hayden, coach of Texas Rhyhorns, and Blaze, coach of the Chicago Gliscor. Hope you have enjoyed, and hopefully we will see you all later.